Hello, today we're going to be talking about violence. I'm Adam.
I'm Cade.
I'm Lucas.
I'm Jeremiah. And we have a special guest today.
Nolan Billups.
All right. So to start off with violence. Does anybody have anything that they want to start off with? Any points for violence?
I just wanted to start off with how just innocent kids every single day are just dying because they're surrounded by this bad environment. And if any of y'all want to add on to that.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in gang areas, there's a lot of ways that things could go wrong. Even though maybe they aren't the intended target, but a kid could get caught up in the crossfire at school or somewhere else that they just have to be at in public because of where they live at. And then also in areas right now across the world like Israel and Palestine, a lot of people are dying because of the war that's going on. And in Ukraine and Russia, innocent kids are dying pretty much every day because of things that are going on.
And you got the colleges, you seen that? Somebody said they couldn't get to their class.
Yeah, because of the protests and stuff at the college over the violence going on in Palestine and Israel right now. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
And I feel like violence is mainly through influence a lot and through social media and what you believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Also, a lot of it has to do with the way that you're brought up, and if you constantly see a bunch of violence and stuff going on during your childhood at school or in the house or just in your neighborhood, then a lot of the times you might grow up and think that that's normal.
Yeah.
And another part of violence I wanted to bring up is domestic violence. So if any of y'all want to talk about it.
I mean, even with a lot of athletes and famous people, we see a lot of cases of domestic violence in NFL, MLB, and NBA players and stuff. You see a lot of that going on, so it's definitely a big problem. And we've seen the recent things with Diddy and what he was doing and stuff, and it's just that a lot of people think that it doesn't really happen and it's not normal. Well, it's definitely not normal, but it's not a regular occurrence, and it really is. It happens a lot more than people think. It just goes under the radar sometimes, and people are afraid to report that they were domestically assaulted or something.
Yeah,
That's another thing. If people don't report it and it's not taught, then nobody's gonna learn. Nothing's gonna get dealt with. You know what I'm saying?
It's never gonna get better.
Yeah.
Anything else we wanna cover right here?
So this is Nolan, by the way, and I just want to start off by saying, gang violence. The topic of gang violence is in this world, there's a lot of gang violence, especially in the LA County.
Yeah, Long Beach, LA County.
LA County, and kids nowadays just walking to school or from school or getting shot, and it's not right.
Yeah.
And
definitely a lot of kids get sucked into it too because they think it's the only way out, and it's the only way to really make it out of their tough situation wherever they are.
And I agree with you. And kids try to fit in.
Yeah.
And they just need to know being your own person is always better than trying to fit in with a group that's not.
It's not who you are.
Not who you are. You know.
Yeah. And a lot of these. A lot of times the violence, even though it's not directed towards certain people, it always has a wider impact than it's intended, and it's obviously a lot of times they're not trying to hurt innocent people, and they're just trying to hurt people that are opposing them in the same people that got themselves into the same type of lifestyle that they are in, but it can affect their family members and other innocent bystanders that could be there as well. So
I would like to add some info to back up what Kate said. In Los Angeles County alone, there are an estimated 450 active gangs with approximately 45,000 members.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
According
that's a lot
to
That's a lot.
That's a lot of young kids big blocks.
That's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Shit.
And look, Los Angeles Police Department, gang-related crimes accounted for nearly 50% of all homicides in the county in recent years.
Wow. Yeah. So that's definitely a big problem of what's going on because there's so much of this violence going around, and it's really normal in communities that are heavy in it. We see a lot of it in our county, LA County, in our city, Long Beach. We see a lot of these problems going on. So it's definitely something that needs to be worked on. And it has in LA and Long Beach. It has gotten better since the '90s and 2000s, but it's still definitely a big problem.
And I think like some solutions to maybe help it is just more like more guidance, like just in these communities, like people like more like adults help. And like if you're a parent and you're just letting your kid like you know what I'm saying get involved with this type of stuff, like you just gotta parents just need to. Yeah, they need to be more into.
I think.
Well, a lot of the times too, parents don't even know, and
even know, so
they
more like mentors.
They might be busy. A lot of times these
programs. Sometimes like kids just need to talk to their parents. And it's like need someone to talk to.
Along with this, a lot of the times some kids like the reason that they get into this is because their parents are always busy working and stuff, trying to provide and make things happen, that they don't have anybody to look up to a lot of the times, and they turn to these gangs and like the older members as people to look up to. But we need more like role models in these communities to help like be role models for kids so that they can go along the right path in life.
Yeah, like we said, it all starts from like, you know what I'm saying,
the bottom.
parents.
Ground up. Ground up.
Like don't just hang out with people that are doing bad stuff to try to fit in. Like hang out with people that are like
gonna make you better.
Make you better in life, and like just you know be smart. You know.
Sam, would you like to, Jeremiah? Anything?
I think we should switch over to serial killers and like stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
that's type of
like
who's that one show?
The Jeffrey Dahmer show. That was OC.
Yeah, that's just like no way like people who actually like do that like
with that kind of violence is different.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like how can you even treat that?
That's more hardcore. Like how are you gonna really stop people from becoming so sick like that?
That's really disgusting.
Well, it comes a lot of the times. It comes from like a really bad childhood, a really bad like traumatic incident or a really bad upbringing that causes people to like snap and they may do these types of things.
More communities and more mentors to like help people guide these young kids to like you know what I'm saying, make sure it's okay.
In sports and things like that.
Get them involved just in like the just activities.
All right, and like a lot of the times it comes. These kids were beaten or abused as a child, so they may have a troubled future because of what happened in their past and like the trauma that they've experienced, and like they no longer like their brain doesn't work the same way the others do because of the PTSD and all that could come along. You know, also another thing with violence I would have to bring up is like a lot of fights and stuff like at school that we see. I would say there's a lot of fights, especially in the Los Angeles area.
Based on personal experience too, I've seen fights.
I will see.
And you know
cool.
It gets real when people you know can't like come to an agreement or whatever. It's like you got to know how to.
I mean, this year even we had like a lot of big fights within 1 week, where you know. It may just seem like, it's just a fight and you may want to go watch and record and think it's funny, but really, like, you never know what could be going on beneath that because you never know with kids these days. Like, we've had experiences with kids bringing weapons to school this year. We already had a big lockdown, where a kid brought a firearm to school and we were in the classroom for hours on lockdown, hiding when the police were here. So you never really know if that fight could escalate into something more than it really needed to be. So, like, fights in school really shouldn't be something to laugh about and something that's thought of at school.
Yeah, and I feel like a big part to influence the youth and high schoolers is to just, like, to help them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, help them understand that that's not really the way to handle things. Yeah,
that's how you handle problems. You gotta be able to handle it in a peaceful way.
You gotta
most of the time
drill it to their head while they're young.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, when they get older.
Yeah. Most of the time you should be able to handle problems like with your words and stuff, but there is certain situations where you do have to use some type of violence sometimes if someone else starts it with you have to be able to self-defend and but you don't want to be the one that's initiating violence when there doesn't need to be violence, because it doesn't only just affect you. You have to realize that it's going to affect a lot of other people.
And then the people who are getting into violence, it's just making them worse on themselves because now they're going to have to go to prison or jail, and that's what
or get in trouble and stuff.
And basically, all it is just getting the government to get more people in jail, because that's all they want. They want the people, to get,
And these kids like getting in fights at school, they're getting suspended, they're getting expelled and going to different schools and other districts, and it's not really making the problem any better. I don't think they're really learning their lesson. They're just going to things and they're just going to hate school even more. They're just going to get farther and farther deep into the problem a lot of the times.
And I think another thing that can't help with that is just the school system.
Yeah.
You know, the school system isn't for everybody to succeed, so I think there should be different types of ways. You know, I don't know exactly, but I feel like there could be some ways for it because everybody's different learners. Everybody learns different.
Yeah.
Everybody likes different things. So this traditional school way is not fitting for most people, and most people, when they don't like it, they just want to, you know what I'm saying, slack off and do other things when it could still help them in the future if we get a better school system.
Especially young athletes, just always do the right thing, because one thing, if you're an athlete going to college or anything, one thing can ruin your whole life. So be smart, and kids need to understand that, and just pursue your dreams instead of being other people that you're not at all,
Yeah, a lot of times we see people lose all that they've worked for and everything just because of one dumb mistake and into a altercation, a fight or something, during all right, and that's just about it for the episode. This episode about crime. Yeah, basically just to sum it up, a lot of gang violence and violence within schools and communities are affecting a lot of the kids that grow up, and it's just causing more and more violence into adulthood. And the problem is not really getting much better at all. So, thank you for listening. Later.